morning. Welcome to National Action Network Saturday Action Rally. We're coming to you live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net in the 10 o'clock hour. We'll also be live on the Impact Television Network. We are here live in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. We are so pleased that you are with us on this Saturday morning, because if it's Saturday and you hear the cry of no justice, no peace, you know this is where the action is. Our president and founder is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and today, throughout this broadcast, we are here to say happy birthday, Reverend Al Sharpton. All day through the broadcast today, we will be celebrating the birthday of a historic figure in this nation, the one and only Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, who's celebrating his birthday was on October 3rd, but we are celebrating and have been celebrating all week, because if anybody deserves it, it is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. But we are pleased to be here with you today. Of course, we'll have a number of great tributes to Reverend Sharpton throughout the broadcast, and we'll be looking forward to all of that. If it's Saturday, our musical director is here and with us, the one and only Minister Tyrone Richardson, and of course he'll be there to play Happy Birthday at the right time. We know that. Of course, the band is in place. The Nan Change Choir is here. Everybody is ready to go, and we are looking so forward. So call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. But right now, brothers and sisters, we'll take care of our usual business. Always want to remind everyone that the NAN Youth Huddle will meet on Monday, October 9th, live right here at the House of Justice Auditorium, beginning at 6 p.m. So please spread the word and get into the action with our youngest and brightest dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. For more information on the Youth Huddle experience, you can call 877-626-4651 or email nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com, and that's all spelled out. Of course, we always remind you to tune in today, Saturday, 5 p.m., tomorrow, Sunday, 5 p.m. You want to make sure that you are tuning in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. That's today, Saturday, 5 p.m., tomorrow, Sunday, 5 p.m. Tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. But right now, brothers and sisters, we'll have a few additional announcements for you, and coming to give us the announcements is our operations director here, the Reverend Dr. Malcolm Bird. He's also the senior pastor of the historic Mother AME Zion Church right here in the great village of Harlem. Let's give Dr. Bird a welcome.
Good morning, National Action Network. Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to another Saturday Action Rally with the National Action Network. Here is some information to keep you in the know. Nan responds to McCarthy's ouster. For the first time in history, the Speaker of the House was voted out this week. as Kevin McCarthy was forced out following internal Republican fighting and a push by far-right conservatives. National Action Network highlighted the danger of the House being in such disarray. NAN's Washington, D.C. office is working closely with the Congressional Black Caucus on how to handle whoever is picked as the next speaker and where things go from here. Reverend Sharpton emphasized the fact that Republican chaos cannot and should not disrupt governance, and that the needs of the American people must be front and center. Trump's civil trial. National Action Network has been closely monitoring Donald Trump's recent civil trial and all the developments surrounding it. This week, Reverend Sharpton discussed the implications at length on both Morning Joe and The Beat with Ari Melber on MSNBC. He pointed out the fact that Trump has constructed this whole myth that he's somehow a great businessman and now feels the need to try to defend it. Part of the reason he showed up is because he doesn't think anyone can fight and defend him like him, said Reverend Sharpton on Morning Joe. Reverend Sharpton stated that he's known and fought with Trump for 30 years and that the proverbial leader of the Republican Party is a supreme narcissist who had to be present in that courtroom. Both Trump and Rudy Giuliani, who owes more than $500,000 in unpaid taxes, according to a court filing, have been political adversaries of Nan and Reverend Sharpton for years. The former Trump attorney and former president himself find themselves in a real quagmire. Nan vows to continue fighting Ed Blum. After standing in solidarity with the Fearless Fund, a Black-owned organization which financially supports Black and brown female entrepreneurs, Nan vowed to continue fighting for them and others who are targets of the conservative activist Edward Blum. He and his Texas-based group sued the Fearless Fund in an effort to disrupt their work and stifle any notion of progress. He has been behind the movement to end affirmative action as well as gutting the Voting Rights Act in 2013. Reverend Sharpton and Nan renewed their commitment to fight back Blum and the conservative activists seeking to dismantle affirmative action, diversity, equity, and inclusion. When racial disparities still exist across the board, folk like Blum are trying to halt even a tiny semblance of a movement in the right direction. The Fearless Fund are among this year's honorees at the Triumph Awards, which will take place on Monday, October 16th at Jazz at Lincoln Center in New York City. Other recipients include Tony Award-winning actor Leslie Odom, cast and producers of Ossie Davis' Broadway revival play Pearly Victorious, the Anti-Defamation League's Jonathan Greenblatt, U.S. Track and Field's Max Siegel, and Martha's Vineyard Film Festival's Stephanie and Floyd Rance. Alabama's congressional maps. Reverend Sharpton this week applauded a federal court selection of a new congressional map in Alabama, which creates a second majority Black district in the state. The three-judge panel's decision is the result of the Supreme Court's surprising ruling in June that the Alabama legislature drew district lines in violation of the Voting Rights Act. This is a good day, one we have been fighting for since John Lewis and hundreds of marchers were beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, said Reverend Sharpton. But let's not forget that states are in are in this mess because the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act a decade ago. We must use this moment to galvanize the push for Congress to finally push the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. The march must go on. The National Action Network Triumph Awards 2023 will take place on Monday, October 16th. You see, we have to repeat this because we want you to know how important this is. In New York City, honoring cultural influencers for their ongoing work with their communities to promote social, racial, and economic justice in America, and who have positively impacted our society above and beyond their performance by bridging their celebrity with their community. This year's honorees include Tony Award-winning actor Leslie Odom Jr. and the cast and producers of Pearly Victorious on Broadway, the Fearless Fund co-founders Arian Simone and Ayanna Parsons, Jonathan Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League, Max Siegel, the CEO of U.S. Track and Field, and Stephanie and Floyd Rance, the directors of the prestigious Martha's Vineyard Film Festival, to be recognized. This incomparable roster of attendees will be honored for their cultural, social, and something impact at this year's Triumph Awards on October 16th at Jazz at Lincoln Center. We hope that you can join us as we highlight and honor countless contributions to impact communities and empower change. Tickets to this event are free. Note that. Tickets to this event are free. Tickets to this event are free. If somebody were to ask you, how much are those Triumph Award tickets? What do you tell them? But you must register if you want that free ticket. To register, please visit www.nationalactionnetwork.net. That's www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call 877-626-4651. That's 877-626-4651. Celebrating Reverend Sharpton. On Tuesday, Reverend Sharpton turned 69 years young. We can do a little better than that here in the House of Justice, can't we? Let me tell you what kind of birthday it was. Vice President Kamala Harris called him to give well wishes on his birthday. But not only that, the Empress of Soul, Gladys Knight, stopped by Nan's office and serenaded him in person. You hear that? Birthday greetings poured in from all over the country and all over the world. Today, Nan will honor Reverend Sharpton and celebrate his birthday at our weekly rally at the House of Justice. Many will come by, many are already here, to greet this great civil rights leader and commemorate his decades of work and activism. To all of you who have tuned in and joined us via live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and also live on Facebook at National Action Network. If this is your first time joining us, and or if you are not a member of NAN, we welcome you to NAN and invite you to join us and get into the action today. For more information and to join, you may visit www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call 877-626-4651 or text the word NAN to 56769. Welcome to you all.
All right, thank you so much for that, Reverend Byrd. We're going to kick off the greetings, brothers and sisters, and no better person to kick off our greetings than Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton's own pastor. He is the senior pastor of the historic Bethany Baptist Church, Reverend Sharpton's home church in the great borough of Brooklyn, the county of Kings. He's the Reverend Dr. Adolphus Lacey.
No justice? Come on, we just warming up. No justice? No justice? Certainly, good morning. Thank you, Attorney Hardy, certainly for always being able to present. It is a delight and pleasure, a singular honor, indeed, to be able to be here to celebrate the life of certainly our member, our friend, and our leader at this time. James Cleveland wrote a song, "Give me my flowers while I yet live, so I can smell the beauty that they bring." And one of the things in life is life will bring you to be surrounded by a bunch of hypocrites. People that mean you no good while you're alive, but when you're dead, they make you best friends. We can look at the life of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King when he died in 1968. He almost died broke. We had to raise money to pay for Ossie Davis Jr. and others, paid for his funeral. But yet everybody was excited about it when we come to the third Monday in January. But we don't want to wait for that. Our leader does not have to pass for us to be able to celebrate. So right now, as we celebrate and thank God for 69 years, can you get on your feet to start this party out right as we celebrate the life and legacy and leadership of the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton? And we are certainly blessed by that. And again, I want to let you know it is certainly a singular honor, not just by me, but all of us, as we're broadcast all across this nation and this world. And yet, when you and I are here, you know he will shake your hand and take your picture and recognize you on the street, because that's the kindness of a man, that he can walk with kings and also hang out with kids. Amen, amen, amen.
All right. We want to thank you, Dr. Lacey, for that. Right now, brothers and sisters, he is no stranger to the House of Justice, a dear, dear friend of the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and one of the great servants here in the state of New York. He represents the 16th Senatorial District in the borough of Queens. Let's bring on Senator John Liu.
Thank you, Attorney Harding. Great to see everybody here at the House of Justice. No justice? No justice? No justice. I am so happy to be with all of you here today on this Saturday rally that takes place every single week. And of course, today is the occasion of our celebration of our leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton's 49th birthday. Because he doesn't look a day over 49, does he? In fact, every single time I see him, he looks younger and younger and younger. And that speaks to the amount of spirit he has. He's carried this movement for decades, and he is going as strong as ever before. And we need him more than ever before, because we're at a crossroads on so many issues here in this country, from what's called the traditional civil rights movement. Now we have an asylum seeker so-called crisis, which I'm not sure it's really a crisis. It's something that we have to deal with, to all sorts of educational and financial reforms in this country. Reverend Sharpton's continued to lead us in so many different ways, getting people to see perspectives that they otherwise would not. And so I'm just so grateful to have Reverend Sharpton as a friend and a leader, and to see him on this yet another birthday. I think we are all blessed. It's not just the birthday boy who's blessed. We are all blessed. Happy birthday, Reverend Sharpton. We love you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Senator Liu. Right now, brothers and sisters, he's a board member of the National Action Network, also a founder of the Impact Organization here in New York City. He's also the pastor of the historic Mount Nebo Baptist Church in the great village of Harlem, the Reverend Dr. Johnny Green.
Thank you, Attorney Hardy. Let's get on our feet and give a thunderous applause as we celebrate the birthday of Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. Come on, let's get up on our feet. No justice? No justice? No justice? All right, you may be seated. Today, my friends, we gather to celebrate this remarkable individual in the personage of the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, whose life and work has been dedicated to the pursuit of justice, equality, and civil rights. Reverend Al, as we celebrate you, we have come today to say that we want you to know that your unwavering commitment to these causes not only inspired countless individuals, but has also helped shape a more equitable society for us all. Throughout your journey, you have fearlessly confronted adversity. You have championed the marginalized and stood up for what is right. Your voice has been a beacon of hope in times of darkness, and your actions have sparked positive change all across the world, not just here in these United States of America. So as we mark this special day and acknowledge the tremendous impact you've had on our nation and the world, your advocacy, your speeches, your tireless efforts to bridge the divides and promote unity, all of these have left an indelible mark on our collective consciousness. So on behalf of all of those whose lives you've touched, my life, my father's life in Dallas, my family and congregational members, and the countless more who have benefited from your activism, we say thank you, Reverend Sharpton. Your journey serves as a reminder that change is possible, and it is individuals like you who lead the way. So we've come today to celebrate with the Nan family and with our fearless leader, Reverend Sharpton, this wonderful 69th birthday celebration. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you as I pray.
All right, we're going to go out east on this great island that contains Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island to Hempstead, New York, and bring on the Reverend Cedric Easley.
Praise the Lord, everybody. No justice? No justice? We are grateful to be here this morning from Strong Island to come and to share and to celebrate with what I would say one of the world's greatest freedom fighters in the person of the Reverend Al Sharpton. We are grateful for his life and his witness and his ministry. We love him. Those of my generation, we only heard about Dr. King. But those of us of my generation, we have walked and watched the work of the Reverend Al Sharpton. And we are grateful for his work and for what he has given to the world. And I dare say to you, the city of New York would not be what it is today without the work of the Reverend Al Sharpton. And we are so grateful. Reverend Sharpton, over the years, have done so much for so many of us and has given voice certainly to the common man. And we are grateful for that. Reverend Sharpton has taught us so much. His life has been a lesson. This 69 years of watching him has been a lesson to us. He has taught us how to fight. He has taught us how to protest. He has taught us how to speak. He has taught us how to stand for what we believe and to stand on our own convictions. He has taught us how to evolve. But when you begin to look at him, he's also taught us how to dress, y'all. Come on, y'all. He has taught us how to do. He's the sharpest man, come on, out there. Taught us how to dress, taught us how to live, and taught us how to fight for what we believe in. And we've come today to tell him not only happy birthday, but we've also come to tell him thank you for what he has given to this world. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Easley. Right now, brothers and sisters, he is the president of the Borough of Manhattan, Borough President Mark Levine.
Thank you to my friend, Attorney Michael Harding. I'm thrilled to be with all of you this morning. in the presence of the Lion of Lenox Avenue. Please join me in welcoming Charles B. Rangel, Congressmember, Dean Emeritus. Honored to see you. I want to be honest with you, Nan family, that I'm here with a very heavy heart this morning. I'm not sure if many of you have seen the news coming out of Israel this morning, where there's been the worst terrorist attack in 50 years. I don't want to get too graphic, but there are revolting scenes of terrorists going house to house, shooting families. They found a baby in one village where the parents are gone, presumed dead or kidnapped. There have been images of dead bodies being pulled through the streets by Hamas terrorists, people cheering at the sight of these bloody bodies. It's really sickening. So I am somewhat distraught right now, but I know that I'm with a community that understands what it means to be targeted by brutal violence. And I know I'm with a community that understands what it means to be treated as less than human. And I'm here also in part to recognize a leader and a friend in Reverend Al Sharpton, who understands that we have to speak out when there's blood spilled in a supermarket in Buffalo or in the streets of Jerusalem. And a leader who understands that we must fight injustice, whether the victims are African Americans or LGBTQ Americans or people of any faith or background or religion anywhere in the world. And I am grateful for him and that leadership. Someone who works harder than anybody I know, who I have often found that the leaders who like to tell you how hard they work and like to tell you how long their days are and how early they get up and how little sleep they get, those leaders are probably exaggerating. Reverend Sharpton is too busy fighting hard to boast and brag about the hours he keeps. But I see him every morning at 6 a.m. on Morning Joe. He is live in the studio. He's not phoning in from his living room. And by that point in the morning, he's already done a full workout routine that probably exceeds the amount of exercise I get in a month. And then he goes through the afternoon and evening, and on the way over here, I actually needed to look up how old he is, and I was shocked because he has more energy than people twice his age. If you don't know how old he is, you can Wikipedia it. I'm not going to call him out. But I am grateful that he has the energy and the fortitude he has for the fight against injustice, because every single fight he has taken on has been a rough fight. Every challenge he has taken on has been very, very difficult. And I think I'm paraphrasing him here, but I heard him say once that everything he's done in life has been walking uphill with a heavy pack on his back. And I'm grateful that he still has that energy even today. And I'm grateful that he's a leader who understands in this moment that we both need to be in the streets and we also need a seat in the boardrooms. He's got the heart of an activist, and he understands we have to win elections. He understands that we need accountability for the racism that persists in the criminal justice system, and that we also need to keep communities safe. As he likes to say, we have to keep an eye on the cops and the robbers. And you can see I've been listening to a lot of Al Sharpton speeches, paraphrasing him left and right. His voice is more essential and needed than ever in New York City, in the halls of Congress, nationally. And I am grateful that every Saturday morning he comes here to share his wisdom, to motivate uptown in New York City. I am proud to call Reverend Al Sharpton a friend, and I want to salute and congratulate him today on his birthday. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Borough President. We are now going to bring, he's from the St. Paul Community Baptist Church in Brooklyn, the Reverend David Brawley.
Good morning. All of us in life aspire a modicum of success. All of us want some of the good things in life, whether it be a place to live, decent, affordable housing, and all those things that come along with living the good life. But there are some of us in this world who move beyond just mere success. They move to the category of greatness. Success is what we do for ourselves, but greatness is what we do for others. Today, I've come to celebrate a great man. One of the flaws of our society this day is that oftentimes we overlook greatness in our midst. We wait till greatness is off the stage. But today, it's good for us to be here, to recognize the greatness in our midst, the greatness that God and the ancestors have sent us in the person of the Reverend Al Sharpton. From the St. Paul Community Baptist Church and the Borough of Brooklyn, we salute the Reverend Al for his greatness. Thank you.
All right, brothers and sisters. He is tied to the history of the great village of Harlem. He's tied to the history of the great state of New York. He's tied to the history of the government of the United States of America. He's the former chairman of the Ways and Means Commission, the Lion of Lenox Avenue, the Honorable Charles Rangel.
If you don't mind, I'm going to save these 93-year-old knees this morning. But I wanted to get here early, Michael, because what I have to say is coming from an old veteran, Inez. You know these stories about fire horses? You may have read that before the engines, they used to have horse-drawn firefighters. And after a horse has been there for 20, 30, 40 years, once they hear the bell, they don't give a damn whether it's a fire or not. They just gotta jump and run out there. Well, I have to admit to you, after 46 years in the House of Representatives, and after 4 years in the New York State Assembly, and after 2 years as a United States prosecutor, I'm an old fire horse. And when I hear politicians debating anything, my wife says that my legs start moving and I start answering questions. And I'm looking at this after 7 years of retirement. I'm not on the television, but they're on television. I'm answering the questions, just like an old fire horse, you know, cussing and fussing. But I tell you that story because I cannot think of anyone on television that I'm more proud of than Reverend Al. There's no time that he is not speaking for or against an issue that I wish that I was back in the firehouse running out when the bell rang. whether we're dealing with civil rights, voting rights, whether we're dealing with the president or the city council, whether we're just dealing with injustice, it just seems that every time he answers, I say, get him, Al, get him. And I'm glad that you're out there. And I know that each and every one of you feel this same sense of pride, like he belongs to you. If he's on television and you're around there and someone next to him, you tell him, I'm gonna see him Saturday, or he knows me, or I've been with Reverend Al for 5 years, but there's a sense that he's a part of our family. And this is true across the United States and the world. I have become a big shot. I was born and raised 132nd Street and Lenox Avenue, and then became a big shot and moved uptown to on 35th and Lenox Avenue. And I can tell you, not everybody knows who the hell I used to be. But if some cop comes and hustles me, rather than tell them how long I've been in politics, I just say, you do what you have to do. But do you know I knew Reverend Al? And it just ain't me. This is all over the country. Poor folks who can't get lawyers don't know where the NAACP is. The first thing they do is say, get in touch with Reverend Al. And the surprising thing, it's just like the borough president said. No matter where he is, he's all over the map, planning, strategizing, praying, at funerals, just raising hell, and at the same time, is one of the most eloquent people that we have on our national networks. And so, with all of the pride that I have for being able to make a contribution with Inez Dickens and so many others of you over the many years, one of my greatest pride is to be able to say, you know, I knew Reverend Al. Thank you, gang. And we wish him many, many, many happy birthdays. Mike, and here's the rock, the stone, the mountain in which Reverend Al stands on.
Thank you, Congressman Charles Rangel. All right. She's also tied to the history of this great village of Harlem. We could probably call her the lioness of Harlem. She's the assemblywoman for the 70th District of Harlem, a great, great friend and sister, and a true supporter of the National Action Network and the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. She always is where she needs to be, and that's Assemblywoman Inez Dickens.
Good morning, family. It's good to be here. God woke us up this morning and set us on our way. I want to acknowledge my second pastor, because Reverend Dr. Washington is my first, but I want to acknowledge Reverend Dr. Johnny Green. Michael Hardy, you have stood tall for many years, not just today. See, many of us just came in today. But Michael Hardy, you have stood with Reverend Sharpton through all of the fights and the turmoil. Congressman Rangel referred to some of them. But the one thing that Reverend Sharpton has been consistent with and that is unity and communication. He has communicated across not just the United States, but the world, the message that there must be fairness for all people. He has stood tall in the face of people wanting to shoot him, wanting to knock him down, wanting to kick him to the side. But he showed no fear. He stood up for what is right. He has been in the village of, we know he comes from Brooklyn, but we forgive him for that. Exactly, because he's in Harlem today. That's what we're talking about. And he's raised two phenomenal daughters that are the daughters of Harlem. That's Ashley and Dominique. And he has taught them to be warriors, queen warriors, so that they will stand up for what is right. They stand by his side, they stand in front of him, and they stand behind him. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And I want to thank them. I want to thank the two daughters because they are amazingly wonderful, strong, phenomenal, intelligent black women. So give it up for them, please. See, and that's the birthday gift, the real birthday gift that he has. It is the two daughters that he has raised in this village. It is that he has unified more of us than has been done since Martin Luther King. He has fought hard. And because I'm here to thank him for standing up for what is right, what is necessary, what is required, he's pushed back, he stood alone, he's raised his hand, his foot, his entire body to demand righteousness in this country where it is so much racism still alive and kicking. So today, I brought a gift to the Reverend. I brought him a gift of a check to help in his fight. See, because it's good to give the accolades and to really talk about all of the wonderful things he has done, all of the necessary things he's done. But you can't do it without a dollar. You need the money to continue the fight. So I brought my check here, like I'm supposed to. A gift to say thank you, Reverend Al Sharpton. Thank you. Please, may God continue to keep his or her arms around you, embracing you with strength, a strong mind, body, and soul. Harlem, thank you. Thank you for staying united. Thank you for standing strong. And God bless us in this fight with Reverend Al Sharpton.
All right, Assemblywoman Inez Diggins, thank you so much. We're going to go back to the great county of Kings and the borough of Brooklyn and bring on its district attorney, Eric Gonzalez.
Good morning, House of Justice. It's an honor for me to be here with all of you, and I'll be quick and sweet on this message. I came here to do two things today. One is to say thank you to the Reverend Al Sharpton for being an important leader to me, to our communities, and for anyone who cares about social justice. He made it very easy for anyone of goodwill to join a cause and promote social justice. I'm also, of course, here to wish him a very happy 69th birthday. But listen, it's very simple to me. In 2014, Ken Thompson appointed me to help him lead the Brooklyn DA's office. And unfortunately, about 2.5 years later, Ken passed. The people of Brooklyn elected me to be district attorney, and I used the thinkings of National Action Network and Reverend Sharpton to just say two things, and to say it really proudly, that we could not have justice without peace, right? No justice, no peace. And as district attorney, I promised the people of Brooklyn and the people of this city that the work of my office would promote fundamental fairness in our criminal justice system, that I would speak out against injustices that kept too many black and brown people incarcerated and failed to keep us safe. But at the same time, I would work each and every day to protect black and brown families who are often victims of crime. And that is the message that you hear very clearly from Reverend Sharpton each and every day. The message is you can do both. You can protect families, you can keep people safe, and you can promote fundamental fairness and equality in our justice system. Harlem, and I say I'm up here with my Manhattan District Attorney next to me, Alvin Bragg, who's doing a great job here. This city can do both. It can treat people in our criminal justice system with the humanity that they deserve, the humanity that we all believe comes from our Maker, and we can make sure that we reduce crime. In Brooklyn and this city, we're doing both, and I know that DA Bragg is doing his thing here in New York County. We're reducing crime to record lows. Brooklyn had the safest summer in the last 10 years. They won't tell you about that in the newspaper, but we had the least amount of shootings that we've ever had from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I'm gonna say it again, that we've ever had, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. That's the path forward, a path driven with fairness and justice and safety. And Reverend Sharpton has been talking about these issues for more than a decade now, very clearly about how we have to reform our criminal justice system. I'm here to support him and to support all of you in that quest for fundamental fairness. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Well, like District Attorney Gonzalez, who walked into history himself, when you become the district attorney of a county, you just never know what you're walking into. And they have both walked into the history of this nation. And we are so pleased to have with us today, again, a child of Harlem, the district attorney of the great borough of Manhattan, County of New York, Alvin Bragg.
Good morning, Nan. Good morning, Nan. This is a day that the Lord has made, and let us rejoice and be glad in it. And we have so much to be glad for this morning. The work of Nan, the work of you, and the work of the Reverend Al Sharpton. Dominique already looked at me and told me 2 minutes, don't go over. So I'm gonna be direct. When I think about Reverend Sharpton, I think about a lot, but this morning I wanted to talk about 3 quick things. The first is longevity. Some people do this work for a season, but he's been in the vineyard a mighty long time. So we need to salute that. Almost his entire life, he talks about being a boy preacher. It's his longevity. The second, and it's no mistake that we have so much clergy up here, he is rooted in the Word. In the finest traditions of the black church and the civil rights movement, and I believe that has fueled the longevity. That's made him last and endure more than a season. So we got his longevity, we have his faith, and when people ever they say Al Sharpton, I say it's Reverend Al Sharpton. And the third is his clarity of vision. You heard District Attorney Gonzalez talk about it, you heard our great borough president, you heard
our congressmember, you heard our assemblyman. Almost everyone has gotten up here and talked. First of all, judging by who was around him, look at the people he's mentored and brought along. They all talked about his clarity of vision, and our DA and our borough president in particular, that safety and fairness. Reverend Sharpton knows, and listen to this stat, 97% of shooting victims in New York City are black and Latino. So when DA Gonzalez says we have to stand up for black and Latino victims, that's what we're doing every single day of the week. And you know this, we know this, but we also have to talk about the fairness of the system. So how many times has Reverend Sharpton stood here and talked about affordable housing? That's how I started a tenant protection unit. How many times he stood here and talked about unfair labor practices? That's why I started a worker protection unit. How many times has he stood here and talked about holding the police accountable? That's why I rebooted our police accountability unit. So literally I stand here today mentored by him, thankful by him, thankful for him, and ultimately thankful to the Lord. God bless you.
All right, Councilman-elect for the Village of Harlem, Yusef Salaam.
It is always good to be in front of family. May the peace, mercy, and blessings from the owner of all peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. And may that same peace, mercy, and blessings on this day, even though I know the day was a few days ago, be especially gifted to Reverend Al Sharpton. Y'all know Sharpton stood with me and my good brother Corey Wise. Listen. It was so unpopular to be with us. We were the pariahs. We were the poster children of what they call deviants. And when we looked to our right and our left, not only was Sharpton there, but Nan was there. Y'all were standing lock armed. Y'all were listening. Y'all was ready. Y'all said, no, not under my watch. We're going to make sure these young men, just like Sharpton has always done, making sure we are safe. So I just wanted to extend greetings of peace, of mercy, and blessings to our Reverend Al Sharpton on a very, very, very special happy birthday. You know, you're right at the end of one cycle and you're going into a next, and we hope that you have many, 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 many more. This is a good, good thing. So I just wanted to say thank you. I can't wait to work with him and you all in the position of city council as we move forward. It's going to be amazing. Thank you.
You know, just in case there's press in the room, I should have said presumptive councilperson-elect, because technically there is an election in November. All right, the Change Choir.
Your time is winding up. You better
Change Choir under the direction of Minister Tyrone Richardson. Brothers and sisters, I want you to get on your feet for the president and founder and the person we are celebrating his birthday today, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice. No justice. No justice. No justice. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? 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 Fist bump the person next to you. Tell them you love them. Throughout the week, as I celebrated my birthday Tuesday, and people would come and talk with me, some of our chapter leaders from around the country would come and talk. Reverend Charles Williams flew in from Detroit. And I told them, you know, I talk a lot about our history as a nation, talk about our history as a people. But I said, but you know something, in this last 2 weeks, I've seen some things in my own personal journey. I thought about it when Yusef Salam, councilman to be whatever the legal thing is, how they take care of that. I ain't getting off into that. When he was talking, I thought about how just a few years ago, when police killed a young man named Amadou Diallo, and we started going to jail down at one police plaza protesting that they would not even, at that point, indict the police. Man who had the highest position of black hat in government at the time, chair of House Ways and Means, Charlie Rangel, came one day and got on his knee. This was 30 years before Colin Kaepernick. Got on his knee and brought David Dinkins with him and went to jail with us. And Rudy Giuliani was mayor, wouldn't even meet with us. And I thought about that when I saw Giuliani have a mugshot. Then I thought about how we stood up for Curry Weiss and Yusef and the others, Central Park 5, and as he said, they talked about us and demonized us, did cartoons. And then there was a full-page ad in 4 papers from a celebrity developer in New York who never took a position, didn't say nothing about Howard Beach, didn't say anything when Bensonhurst happened, but he took an ad out saying that these 5 young men should be given the death penalty. And I thought about that when they walked him to the defendant's table this week, named Donald Trump. If you keep on fighting, if you keep on giving, your change will come. I heard D.A. brag saying the longevity of our fight, but that's because I was raised by a single mother, raised us on food stamps and welfare, but she always tells us the race isn't given to the swift, nor to the strong, but to those that can hold out to the end. If you can hold out, even though they're going to attack you, if you can hold out, even though they're going to deny your worth, even if they devalue you, if you hold out, your change will come. National Action Network Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here live in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and for you that are watching live on various media platforms, we're happy to be with you to give our report on where the action is. And I'm so happy for all of you that have come. This is a special delight for me on my birthday. I remember when I think it was John Lew saying that I didn't look a day over 49. And I thought out of all of the greetings this morning, that was a very nice thing for John to say, but Inez Dickens upped you one. She said she brought me a check. Inez know how to talk to a black preacher, you know. Now, I don't want Gonzalez or Bragg to give us a check, because I don't want to be sitting down next to Donald Trump. I don't want y'all to give me nothing. But I'm so honored, my pastor, Reverend Lacey. Give Adolphus Lacey a hand. And one of the great faith leaders on the rise nationwide, is already in the top 3 or whatever y'all want to call it in ministry here in New York, Reverend David Brawley. Give Reverend Brawley a hand. The reason I point out Brawley is because Brawley not only preaches from the pulpit, but what he's doing in the work for affordable housing and challenging people that many won't challenge is the right thing for a minister to do. And I appreciate Reverend Brawley's ministry. and the rock of social justice ministry, one of our board members and my real true brother, Reverend Johnny Green, Mount Nebo. And the reigning prince of preachers in New Jersey, who's on our board and pastors the major church in New Jersey. I got to meet with him and find out what we're going to do with this Senate seat in New Jersey, but we'll do that another day. It's my birthday. I don't want to make the wrong headline. And I heard confirmed rumor that Inez Dickens talk about not running again. So there's a whole lot of seats that I need to get some briefing on. And Charlie Rango says his knees is bad, but that's from him on his knees praying. I don't know who he done prayed up to be the next assemblywoman. But I'm talking about Reverend David Jefferson, Metropolitan Baptist. But before I get into anything else, and I want to acknowledge y'all, this has been a movement around fighting for people, and we keep fighting and we stay fighting. And that's why in the house is always, every Saturday, is the mother of Eric Garner, Gwen Carr. Where's Gwen? But many of y'all that know that we fought for a young man who I think about all the time, that life was taken and should never have been taken, an array of 50 bullets. His mother's dear, like a sister to me. Stand up to Mother Sean Bell, Valerie Bell in the house. She didn't think I could see her in the audience, but we all been through battles together. We family. Gwen and her, they can change their hairdos and all, but I know them. And I got a new expression I heard today, so let me acknowledge him, one of the great faith leaders of our time. I'm so proud of him. I just did his banquet from Strong Island. He said, "Get up, Reverend Cedric. Easily, come on, stand up. He's Strong Island." I want, before I get into remarks today, and I certainly join our board president, I was on the phone, Mark, with Jonathan, trying to reach Jonathan Rosenblatt, who we are, Jonathan Greenblatt, who we're honoring a week after next at our Triumph Awards. What is going on in Israel is certainly something we all ought to denounce. I was glad you brought it up. Reckless and terrorism must be denounced no matter who you are. And what is going on, people celebrating, dragging people's bodies down the street. And I was on trying to reach Jonathan. I'm going to deal with it on Politics Nation this evening, but I want you to know, Mark, our prayers are with you and what you said. I wanted to wait. I knew that a lot of the speakers were coming, but I wanted to wait and bring on one myself, who I think, a lot of us play different roles, and mine has been a high-profile role. But then a lot of people do roles that don't get as much attention until they want to attack them. They get negative attention. But if there had not been for this person, a lot of the criminal justice reform, and we got a lot more to do, but a lot that we've gotten through, a lot of the governance that we've seen here in our home-based state would not have happened. And she has led the way, fought the way, and the thing I like about her, in private meetings or public meetings, she'll take a position and she will not equivocate. Some people say things at a press conference and get in the back room and kind of wink like they didn't mean it. But she means it when she says it in private or public. And I'm honored to have, and I want y'all to give a big hand for her to come have a few remarks, the majority leader of the New York State Senate, Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins.
You know, Rev, I did not expect.
I know you didn't.
You know I didn't. But you know what I did? It's true. You know, because I grew up in New York City. And again, by the grace of God, I am in a position that I could never have dreamt of being. It is something that I know could only have happened because of the incredible people who came before all of us, who continued that steady march and understood that if we kept marching for the right things, the change would come. So I saw this man growing up when the debates were like, who is he and what is he and why is he doing and is this okay? I never, ever, ever believed that I would be in the position to call this man a friend. To say, Rev, I need to talk to you. And he listens. You know, sometimes you think that somebody like this won't hear you. I know that he hears people who are on the margins. I know that he will stop what he's doing to fight for everyone, for justice, with the objective of peace. I know that. But sometimes when you get in these positions, you don't know how to go to people who actually will give you solid advice, hold your counsel. And sometimes when you go, it's a disappointment. Sometimes they're saying things like he said, they're saying one thing and they're doing something else. This man has created an environment that allows everyone to meet him exactly where they are. Exactly. So when I came here this morning, I knew I'd be with incredible luminaries, including our great congressman, you know, and I won't go listing all those guys. This is the Rev's moment. But I came from a little way up north to say, happy birthday. Thank you. You have been an incredible warrior for all of us, a mentor, a friend, and if we can't learn by your example, shame on us. We got work to do, and we better do it, because we are in a strange place in democracy, and we are all old enough to know what it looked like. Let us not sit back. Let us not pretend that we are not in the battle. Let us follow the example, and let us say again, no justice, no peace. No justice, no justice. Thank you.
Come on, give her a hand, Andrea Stewart Cousins. I want to acknowledge also, there's so many people, but I have to acknowledge my fellow freedom fighter, stand-up Bishop, Reverend Bishop Orlando Finlay. Stand up, so happy you with us. Reverend Chris Williams, Harlem pastor, stand up, he's been with us. Let me emphasize, I see coming in Terrence Floyd, brother George Floyd. Give him a hand as he comes in. Let me also thank my staff. I see some of the staff that is here and some that make Nash Action Network go. And certainly we could not ever say enough for the sacrifice and leadership of our Executive Vice President, General Counsel Michael Hardy. And our spin doctor who make sure that even though they come after us, that it comes out right. Been with us a quarter of a century and been our spokesperson, our communications person. Like I said, been with us since she was 10 years old, Rachel Nordlinger. I want to also make just one edit, and I think that it, you know, I run around the office all the time correcting things, but I want to make one edit for our esteemed assemblywoman who said that I raised Dominique and Ashley. Kathy raised them. And I just paid the bills sometime. It was a few years before I could pay the bills on time. I didn't know, like Donald Trump, how you could just make stuff up and not pay the bill. But she raised them and allowed me to go on the road and become Al Sharpton, and she helped me do what I do. I want to go back to something Senator Stewart said. Let me reiterate this announcement. You that have not got your tickets, and they're free, but you have to sign up for the Triumph Awards a week from this coming Monday. And let them in. Y'all don't disrupt me talking. I done told y'all before. Let him, he's a photographer, let him in. I keep telling y'all be making all these funny moves while I'm talking. That's what happened with Malcolm. I get my Malcolm radar up. Folk want to go to the restroom, let them go. I don't want them relieving themselves on my chairs. But I want y'all to get your tickets. We're honoring, among others, I mentioned Jonathan, but we're honoring that night Leslie Odom Jr., who is the star of Pearly Victoria on Broadway. And Ossie Davis wrote that play in the early 60s. And Leslie brought it back to Broadway, a sellout every night. I went to opening night. And Ossie Davis' family is going to come and help us present his award. And we're also honoring the co-founders, the two women that started Fearless Fund. And this is the fund, and it goes right into Senator Stewart's remarks. This is a fund of black women, two black women, started a fund in Atlanta, Georgia. And the idea of the fund was that they wanted to create a line of money, and they raised millions, that they could underwrite and support black women and other denied people having startup money and support money to go into business. They wasn't protesting nobody, wasn't making a social statement, but they knew personally the dangers that you face if you start a business and can't borrow money, or if you want to start one and can't get an investment. And they did this and started giving out $20,000 grants a month, taking care of many businesses. When the right wing went after affirmative action, and this head of it, or one of the coordinators, I should say, Ed Bloom, and Stephen Miller, who was the main advisor to Donald Trump, they went and got a group to go all the way to the Supreme Court to end affirmative action. Same group. Now, many of you, some of y'all are here this morning, and I know many of you listening on radio, that had that super duper blacker than black stuff, that we don't vote, I ain't in the system, and said, I'm not voting in 16. It ain't gonna make a difference. Well, you not voting did make a difference. Hillary lost, Trump won, and stacked the Supreme Court. And everybody that did not vote in 16 voted for Donald Trump. Talk all that mess you want. Hillary would never have put those three on the Supreme Court that would have ended women's right to choose and ended affirmative action. So once they won that and took affirmative action down, they then said, well, in the reading of, in the order, in the Supreme Court decision, I went through it with Attorney Hardy. There's the line saying that they're going back to an 1886 law against discrimination and you cannot use race. Otherwise, it's discriminatory. Now, the law was put there in 1886 to protect black people. They're using it now to go after black people, saying that because these two black women said that we set up a fund to help black women, that's discriminatory. It is not discriminatory. It is not anti-anybody. It is trying to help those that had been the victims of discrimination by financial institutions and by insurance companies and others. It's the reverse of discrimination. So I put them on our show on TV and radio. I put them out, and we went down to Atlanta when they had the court hearing saying they wanted to have an injunction to stop them from giving the money. We had a rally outside our Atlanta office of National Action Network. Some of you went down with us, and the judge refused to give an injunction. Then the 11th Circuit, 3-judge panel, 2 appointed by Trump, again, for you non-voters, 2 of the 3 appointed by Trump, overturned the district court, Dr. Jefferson, and now have put in place the injunction. We're honoring them to show that all of us are coming out in New York, New Jersey to stand with these 2 black women at the Triumph of One. I want y'all to be there. And the reason I raised that, and you that, again, tickets are free, but you need to sign so you have a seat. Don't come in without signing in and ask where's your seat. Because I will tell you it's on Columbus Avenue outside. You can sign at the counter, or you can call in at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, or you can go online to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can register your seat. I want everybody to be a part of that. As I was listening to people talk, one of the things I was thinking about, Reverend Brawley, is that when I was born and watched the movement as I grew up, father owned the house we lived in East New York, not far from your church, on Logan Street. He made a couple of dollars and bought a house in Hollis, Queens. And as I talk about it, the congressman of Hollis, Queens just walked in. Come on up, Congressman Greg Meeks in the house. Now, you know, Greg and I go back 30 years. So he was outside in the car till I mentioned Hollis, Queens, so he can make his grand entrance. You sit and see right here. You can sit right there. Let him sit right there up close, 'cause I'm gonna raise the offering in a minute, so have him. And we lived in Hollis till I was 10. I had started preaching at Washington Temple as a boy preacher. And my father left us when I was 10, and mother held on long as she could. My father was a successful businessman, owned a corner store from the house. When he left us, we had no money. One day they came and repossessed the Cadillac my mother had, cut the lights off. I had to do homework by candlelight. Finally, we moved to the Albany Projects. So I knew growing up the difference between zip codes. I would ask the kids that, like me, 10 years old in the projects, why is all that garbage stacked up? They say, oh, they pick up the garbage on Saturday. Well, where I lived in Queens, they picked it up every day. So I think my sense of activism started there. And because I was a boy preacher, I would be inside watching news all the time, because a lot of the kids didn't want to play with me because, you know, you don't want to cuss and stuff in front of a preacher that your mama going to hear preach on Sunday. Hard to get a date. No girl wanted to date a preacher at 11 years old. And I would watch the news, and I became, for whatever reason, I became enthralled with Adam Clayton Powell. At that time, he was on the news about every night. And I convinced my mother to let my sister, who was 3 years older than me, to come to Harlem. I wanted to see Adam Clayton Powell at Abyssinia Baptist Church. And after some convincing, my mother let my sister we got on the New Lodge train. Then it was the number 2 train, now it's number 3. And rode up to 135th Street, walked over to Abyssinia. And to my surprise, when church was over, Adam Clayton Powell knew me because he knew my pastor, Bishop Washington. And he said, boy preacher. So I was in heaven. And we walked up to, they used to have Jock's Place and the Red Rooster on the corner from Abyssinia. And he would hold court in there. And he brought me with him. I'm about 12 years old then. And he ordered him a drink. He says, get a drink. I said, I'm 12 years old. And I grew up watching blacks with power and knew what that meant. And if you grow up in your formative years looking at Adam Clayton Powell and Lloyd Dickens, then the next generation, Charlie Rangel and Percy Sutton and Dave Dinkin, you cannot be intimidated by fraud folks downtown, nor do you look up to people who are midgets on a ladder when you've seen real giants that stood on their own 2 legs. The guys that they are now finally going after, we always knew were midgets. Because when you took nothing and made something happen, that's a real giant. I used to go to Charlie Rangel's office, the Harlem State Office building. He'd be on the phone with his mother. His mother paid dues. He paid dues. Brother paid dues. They got there by having to figure it out as they went, because they didn't inherit nothing. You got people that inherited things that couldn't hold on to what they inherited. Trump's daddy gave him millions of dollars that he blew. Our giants got nothing. They were 1 or 2 generations away from slavery, and they built a power base to this day that kept the doors of black folks open. My mother, Johnny Green, thought I was going to lead the church because she was a fundamental Pentecostal Kojic member. And she went to Bishop Washington and said, he keep watching this stuff, wanting to go up with Adam Clayton Powell and them. And you know, Powell was considered a little militant. He had Charles Kenyatta and them circle the pulpit with their fists up. Rangel, remember that? The Harlem Mau Mau, Charles Rangel. Charlie Kenyatta. She said, I don't know if this is good for him. And Bishop Washington said, well, I know what to do. He brought me to his house on President Street, walked me across the street, introduced me to Reverend William Jones, Bethany Baptist Church, who headed Dr. King's chapter here in New York. He introduced me to Jesse Jackson. And I like Jesse because Jesse had a big afro, talk stuff. He was 27, I was 13, but me and him jail. And it was those that shaped and molded my thinking. And I didn't read this, I lived this. There wouldn't have been anybody talking about Barack Obama president if it hadn't been for Jesse Jackson. Wouldn't have been a Kamala Harris as vice president if it hadn't been for Shirley Chisholm. I remember when Shirley Chisholm ran in '72, I was 18, I was a youth director. I couldn't even vote till that November. They just changed the law that year that you could vote. It used to be 21. And I remember she'd go to meetings and black leaders would say, we ain't supporting no woman. And she'd get back in the car. She had a funny habit. Charlie Rangel, no, I ain't lying about this. He won't smile because he don't want to confirm what I'm saying. But Shirley would sit in the back seat of the car, and her husband would drive like he was the chauffeur. Now, I thought there was something funny about that stuff. But Shirley paved the way. And my point is that the worst thing in the world, even worse than being uninvolved, is to be ungrateful. If you choose not to be involved, at least be grateful for those that did get involved and paved the way for you. All of what they fought for is at risk now. Bring it right back to the Fearless Fund. They are trying to destabilize everything that was gained by the civil rights and the women's rights and other rights movements. And they're doing it legally in the Supreme Court and in the state courts. And we are sitting back talking about that's old days. They never stopped. From the days we got the laws, they never gave up on trying to stop and overturn them laws. The children of Barry Goldwater became the supporters of Richard Nixon, became the supporters of Ronald Reagan. And there's a straight line from Reagan to Trump. And what we're fighting is those that for 60 years never stopped. And we keep going from one phase to the next rather than a consistent battle. Some of us are not going to let them take the battles that were fought and won. I tell Dominique, my grandson, be 5 years old in December, if we don't turn this women's right to choose thing around, affirmative action around, he will grow up with less rights than I did. Think about that now. When you were growing up, women had the right to choose. Blacks, Latinos could look for affirmative action. Gone now. How can you live with yourself talking about your degree, talking about your title, when your children have less than you? Impressed with who you are, rather than dealing with what you're obligated to be. People didn't put you in them positions to profile and style. They put you there to protect what got you there in the first place. That's why I always love Greg Meeks. Greg Meeks always gives credit to Charlie Rangel and Floyd Flake, who paved the way for him, and he fights all over the country. I remember back in the day, we used to meet at Sylvia's. Give a hand, Congressman Adriano Espi. See, you notice how these congressmen make their grand entrance. They all been around the corner listening on the radio. Don't go for I'll bring you up in a little while. Don't go for this. They know when they're going to make their entrance. You'll notice that as you get further in politics. You got a good chief of staff, campaign manager in Brother Wright. He'll teach you how to just lay on Lenox Avenue and come in at the right time. But where we used to go to Sylvia's, and back in them days, we always around the same age, and Greg Meeks, David Patterson, we were dreaming about what we wanted to be. Greg was in the assembly then, and David was a state senator. And David, we used to say, was going to be the second black mayor. Want him to run for mayor. And then we talk about Greg's going to be in Congress. And Sharpton's going to be the new Jesse Jackson, new civil rights leader. And I remember 20 years later, I went to Puerto Rico and led a protest about the Navy bombings in Vieques. And the judge gave me 90 days in jail. And I'm in jail in Brooklyn federal jail, rather. And one day they got me out the cell. Greg Meeks, congressman, he come see me and see if I was all right. Next day, Governor David Patterson come. State troopers brought him in to see me. And I said to David, yeah, David, you the governor, you didn't come mayor, but you the governor. And Greg is on his way to be chair of a big committee in Washington. And David looked at me and said, yeah, and you in jail. We all achieved our dreams. I said, something about this we need to renegotiate. But those dreams were built on a belief that we could be something. It was built on a belief that things were possible. Well, what are we going to raise the generations coming to believe if they're being stripped of even the ability to invest in each other? How do I tell my grandson what you could be when they're stripping down the very tenets that make that possible? That's why we got to fight. And they coming with all this nonsense. Sub-issues. You talking about, can you imagine that we get out here, Charlie Rangel was with us painting crack houses, telling people don't break the laws, don't destroy our community, fighting for gun control. Nobody fought harder than Alvin Bragg. They want to act like all he did was one thing. What he's done in terms of violence and all. Eric Gonzalez, crime going down in Brooklyn. They don't talk about that. You get one bad incident, front page for a week. But the data they won't talk about. But how do we tell our young people to don't break the law when you got a man facing 91 felony counts and 4 cases and a civil case, and they telling you, and we want to make him president of the United States? Where's the standards? How do I tell young men that you can make it if you keep your record clean? Look at his record. Indicted for taking out secrets, national security secrets, taking them home, misusing them. And they want to return him to the White House. In your face. Because the reason many of them will tolerate that is he's feeding them what they want to hear. That I'm going to make America pre-1954. And we, the children of what happened in 54, can't let that happen. I said it before, I say it again. I'm not saying, for y'all to start it, I'm not saying that everybody that voted for Donald Trump is a racist. But I am saying that every racist voted for Donald Trump. Don't clap, brag. Don't get me in this now. Put your plugs in your ears. He ain't got nothing to do with what I'm saying. Let me say, this battle is not a battle with just Trump. It's a battle of those that want to roll back the clock, to put women back in the kitchen with an apron, and to put blacks into menial manual labor with no rights that anyone was bound to respect. And if your mother and daddy and grandparents raised you to be something and you don't have enough backbone to fight to stand up and protect what they gave us, then you don't deserve what you got. I'm talking to Reverend Stephen Marshall. Stephen, one of my great leaders, young men coming up. And where's your wife's here with you today? Stand up. And the children. And Reverend Marshall, great young activist and speaker, but his wife's the preacher. But I was telling him, if you look at the Bible, it's instructive, Valerie. There were people just like us that had been enslaved for 300 years, had to make brick with no straw, had to build with no tills to build, and got no wages for what they did. And God sent Moses to lead the liberation struggle. That's why, Johnny Green, I be telling preachers, I go to their church, they say, Al, you know, preach the word. Don't get too much in that civil rights stuff. You know, my people just preach the word. And I tell them, well, what word you want me to preach? I didn't get the Negro version of the Bible. Because the Bible I preached, the second book was a liberation struggle against slavery. What do you think Exodus meant? If you can exegesis and not do the exodus, you ain't exegesing well. God sent Moses to lead a liberation struggle. And Moses, Yusuf, was not one that was qualified by the standards of that day. Moses had killed a man in Egypt, ran as a fugitive. God took a murderous fugitive and made him the leader of the movement. All of y'all that be looking at people's background don't understand God don't need you pure, sanitized, qualified folk. God will take a fugitive and raise them up. Moses was backed up by 7 plagues that God put on Egypt. Finally, Pharaoh let him go. They marched to the banks of the Red Sea. When they got to the banks, watch this. God whispered and told Moses, be strong now, I'm getting ready to do something. Don't worry about it. And they got to the banks of the Red Sea, and the people turned on Moses. If you're going to lead out here, Greg Meeks, there are going to be times they turn on you. Because they can't see what you see. And they ain't heard what you heard. And as Moses stood there, they started heckling Moses. He done took them out of bondage. And they said, what, did you bring us out here to die? Wasn't there enough graves in Egypt? And the Uncle Tom Israelites turned on Moses. God said, don't listen to them, just stretch out your rod. They didn't bring you out, I brought you out. And when he stretched out his rod, there was dry land in the middle of the Red Sea. They marched through the Red Sea. Some scientists try to say, well, Rem Aller was just low tide that day. Well, then explain why when they got through and Pharaoh's army came behind them, God clapped his hand and drowned Pharaoh's army. You would think after all of that, they would never turn their back. on the leaders, on the tradition. But they tell me as soon as they got out there in the wilderness, they forgot the God and the values that brought them through. They started worshiping graven images, started worshiping golden calves. It got lost in the wilderness. And it took only one young man who stayed faithful. He was with Caleb, and he promised there was a promised land, Joshua. So I watch the young folks that come up in the rank and don't just leave with everything trending. Joshua became the new leader because he never left believing and staying faithful to what brought them out of Egypt. And I'm telling you, you've got to remain faithful to a movement that made you possible in the first place. It may not be trending. It may not get you likes on Facebook. But if you stay faithful over a few things, God will make you ruler over many. James Brown, Godfather soul, became like a father to me. His son and I were close. We were the same age. His son got killed in a car accident, and I became like a replacement for Teddy, hung with his other children. About 2 weeks before James Brown died, he called me. I didn't know he was even sick. He called me, and he said, Reverend, he never called me anything but Reverend. He said, Reverend, I said, yes, sir. He said, let me ask you something. I said, what? He said, when you were growing up, Aretha was singing Respect. I was singing Black and Proud. Marvin Gaye was singing What's Going On. He said, I was riding in the car the other day listening to radio, and every song calling us niggas, hoes, and bees. He said, what happened to y'all? That y'all went from Black and Proud to calling yourselves niggas in public. Don't you understand that if you get adjusted to degrading yourself in music, you would adjust to degrading yourself in business and in power? What you enjoy will what you become. I'm telling you, we need to catch our history and go back to the values that brought us. They are advancing because we have lost our sense of who we are and where we are. We did not come this far to let some right-wingers go to the Supreme Court and rob us of our dignity and rob us of our pride and rob us of our history. We need to stand up and hold up a blood-stained banner that's got the blood of our ancestors. So if there's one thing that I commit, is I'm going to keep on fighting. Yes, Alvin Bragg, you're right, longevity, you got to keep fighting. There ain't no retirement plan for an activist. You fight till you don't have to be active no more. And in my journey, I've been blessed to be trained by those in the movement and mentored by them. I didn't read about Hosea Williams. I sat under him. I was mentored by Jesse Jackson and Bill Jones. And Coretta Scott King would come to our convention. I spoke at Rosa Parks' funeral. This is in my DNA. And I refuse to stop as long as a Stephen Miller's taking affirmative action from us. I refuse to stop as long as a thug is about to try to go back to the White House and take back all of our rights. I refuse to stop. Because in my blood are the blood of those that cried out, stand up and be what God made you to be. We can't stop now. We come too far from where we started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe He brought me this far. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. This is your day. This is your time. This is our hour. We must hold on to the bloodstained banner. I want us, as we go forward, to know there's always been a spiritual side to this. And I've faced, and everybody on this stage has faced their controversies and their challenges. But every time I face another hit, I remember that song, "Be not dismayed, whatever betide. God will take care of you. Beneath his wings of love abide." They stabbed me one morning, marching in Bensonhurst, January 21st, 1991, rolled me to Coney Island Hospital. And all I could think is I didn't know whether it hit an artery or a lung. But God will take care of you. I was 37 when they stabbed me. I never thought I'd live to be 39. I had death threats and all. But I was 69 last Tuesday. He gave me 30 years I didn't think I'd get. God will take care of you.
Be not dismayed. Whatever betide, God will take care of you. Beneath his wings of love abide. God will take care of you. Oh, God will take care of you through everything, for all the way. He will take care of you. Oh, God will take care of you.
Not dismayed. Whatever betide, God will take care of you. Beneath
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Hey, I'm gonna open the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today that never joined National Action Network. Couldn't be a better day than on this celebration day of my birthday. If you're not a member, I want you to come down to me and let us sign you up right now and become a member of National Action Network. Come on. Everybody's singing, come on. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody now. Everybody now. Everybody now. I'm bringing my button. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. All right. Before I raise our offering, I want to hear from our congressman. Then we're going to raise our offering. Our Senator Chuck Schumer is on his way, or he's already gotten to China. He did a video that's on our social media. You can see it. And our Speaker to be of the House, Hakeem Jeffries, did a video that's on our social media. And Vice President Kamala Harris called me Tuesday. First call I got on my birthday from Vice President Harris. And biggest surprise, Greg Meeks, was I was in the downtown office, and who walked in but Gladys Knight. And Gladys Knight serenaded me, sung happy birthday. Aretha used to call me. So I got bragging rights. I'm the only one that Aretha Franklin and Gladys Knight. So Greg became chair of foreign affairs, but he ain't had Gladys and Aretha sing happy birthday. Let us hear from our great congressman, my lifelong friend, who has really made us proud, as he's been in the Congress now for a couple of decades and has really represented this country all over the world, Congressman Greg Meeks.
Let me first give honor to God. We would none of us would be here but for him, and of course I've got to recognize the one that mentored me, that I learned under the Honorable Charles B. Rangel. I'm here today to celebrate a birthday, to celebrate a man that has stood up for all of us. And I'm going to be real brief because what I think about, now I'll admit I'm a year older than him. That's right. Almost to the day. I was born, we're both Libras. I was born September 25th. And Rev on October the 6th, October the 3rd. But all I want to say is this. There's a quote from Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali said, "Don't count the years, make the years count." don't count the years, make the years count. So I'm here to celebrate a man who made the years count. Starting at 10 years old, you may be old, but at 10, he was making the years count. When you talk about SCLC and Operation Breadbasket, he was making the years count. When you talk about trying to reinvigorate and make sure that you're standing up for human rights and civil rights and injustice, make the years count. When he was standing up for Michael Brown and Eric Gardner and Abner Louima and Trayvon Martin and George Floyd, he was making the years count. When he was locked up in jail, he was making the years count. So we're here celebrating, not just because, as he said, he made it to 69. We're here celebrating because he made those 69 years count. Reverend, I admire you. I thank you for being the one that no matter what anyone would say, no how anybody tried to stop you, you would stand up for justice and for our people each and every time. Thank you for making the years count.
Congressman Greg Meeks, my real friend. And now I want to hear, I don't know if you know this, but when Esbiat ran before he became congressman, he's running for, was it borough president? And Roberto Ramirez got me to endorse him. And people saying, you can't do that. I said, well, I looked at his background. Roberto said he'd stand up for us, and I endorsed him. And I went out campaigning with him, and I kept saying, gotta support Andrew Esbiat. We got to about the third stop, and he hit me. He said, my name is Adriano Esbiat. And so that's how far we go back, that we can laugh about it now. Our congressman, my dear friend and brother, Congressman Adriano Esbiat.
Yes, sir, Reverend. Been a while now. But 1954 was a critical year in history. But I'm here to celebrate. My tradition is to bring them a cake. And I bring them a Caribbean cake with guava and pineapple and coconut. And this time around the year it gets a little bit chilly and rainy, so, he could sit back and just think he's under that palm tree. I don't know if he ever cut a slice and ate it, but the cake looks good. Come on, Dominique. Happy birthday to you. Blow them out, blow them out. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Reverend Al. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, I'm gonna raise our offering. Glad to see Keisha Sutton, who's kept the Sutton legacy alive. And she's deputy borough president now. My grandson come out because he know I don't eat cake, so he come to get the cake, I guess. Now, I want everybody to give to the best of their ability. I want y'all to know I said, Congressman Rangel, how James Brown was like a father to me. One thing he taught me was how to know when people are giving all they can, and you use this broadly at St. Paul, and when they're giving what's convenient. And I said, well, how do you know? He said, if you're raising an offering, Reverend, and a guy get up and give you a $20 bill, and you drop it, and it stays folded, he giving you the best he got. But if you drop it and it stays wide open, that means he took it off a roll of money. He got more money in his pocket. So I'm gonna watch y'all come up here to see who's peeling off some side money and who giving what they can. All right, I need to start. Reverend Johnny Green started us. I need 10. I take 9 more that can give $100 or more to come quickly. Guardians, $100. Reverend Johnny Green, $100.